From the beginning of the series, Total Drama has always had plenty of shipping, with so many romance plots that range from good to bad to what on earth was that. And the most infamous case of shipping gone horribly wrong on this show was the love triangle between Duncan, Courtney, and Gwen. This catastrophic mess began way back in the second season of the show, Total Drama Action, where the genius studio executives had the brilliant idea that Gwen and Duncan should hook up, because they're both edgelords with a soft side. However, there was just one problem. Both of them were already dating someone else. And even though both of these couples were great, production just really wanted that Grunkin ship to sail. And so, the writers had to come up with an excuse to forcefully have these relationships end. First, the writers have Gwen and Duncan bond over having a few things in common, and although their interactions come across as completely platonic, everyone around them starts to speculate that they have romantic interest in each other. They probably thought, if the other characters point this out, then the audience will be convinced that Duncan and Gwen should be together. But frankly, you need way more than that to build up a believable romance, and we barely get anything from these two. But of course, as the story goes, Gwen and Duncan's interactions are somehow enough to put a wedge in Trent and Gwen's relationship.
It was a good movie, right, Gwen?
Okay, this is kind of awkward.
Which leads to a bunch of contrived conflicts that results in the two of them breaking up. We also have Courtney developing trust issues with Duncan, even though nothing happened between him and Gwen. And as part of her character assassination during Total Drama Action, she becomes more controlling and abrasive towards him, which eventually took its toll on their relationship. As is established in the special Celebrity Manhunt that the two of them have broken up during the 1-year time skip since Total Drama Action. So now that Gwen and Duncan are both single, that means the writers can finally make them a couple, right? Actually, not quite yet, because you see, the series is called Total Drama. And so, to stay true to the title, the writers had the brilliant idea to bring a love triangle into the mix. Because everyone loves a love triangle, why, it's just the greatest trope in all fiction. So this plot gets set up by Gwen letting it slip that she finds Duncan to be attractive during the Celebrity Manhunt special, only for him and Courtney to get back together by the end of it. And come the beginning of Total Drama World Tour, Gwen and Duncan become interested in each other in literally the opening scene, even though he and Courtney just started dating again. Although the storyline wouldn't actually start for a while, as by the end of the first episode, Duncan quits the game and disappears from the show until episode 11, where he is forced back into the game, where he and Gwen finally have their infamous first kiss. Also in this very episode, the writers decided to have Gwen and Courtney become friends for the sole purpose of adding more drama to this storyline, which is a shame because they actually ended up having some genuinely good chemistry. And so in the next episode, Alejandro finds out about their affair, and seeing an opportunity to boost his game, he tricks Tyler, who witnessed their kiss, into burning it out in front of everyone. And so in comes the drama. For the next several episodes, the love triangle becomes the main focus, with everything revolving around the drama that stems from it, creating a vile and unpleasant atmosphere that plagues the show until everyone involved gets eliminated. Which is a shame, because it leaves a massive stain on what is otherwise the best season of the show. But without a doubt, the worst thing about this whole mess is that it ruins many characters who were once great. Obviously, Duncan was awful for cheating on Courtney, even if she was a toxic partner. What makes it look worse in this situation was the fact that he claimed that he was open and honest with people way back in season 1.
Oh, like you're such a team player.
At least I'm straight with people.
As for Gwen, she started off as basically the main protagonist of the series, and after becoming such a beloved character throughout her journey during season 1, this fall from grace was just one of the most painful things to sit through in the entire franchise. Although Courtney's character was already ruined in Total Drama Action, the way she was written in this situation didn't help matters. While her initial reaction to being backstabbed by Duncan and Gwen was understandable, she quickly loses all sympathy by sabotaging her own team in order to eliminate Gwen. And even worse, even after calling out Gwen for stealing her boyfriend, she starts flirting with Tyler in order to spite Duncan, even though he's Lindsay's boyfriend. Which makes her look like a massive hypocrite, and just as bad as Duncan and Gwen. And throughout this entire ordeal, Gwen and Duncan weren't even a good enough couple to justify all this nonsense. The unfortunate side effect of putting so much focus on the drama that their relationship creates is that there's barely any time for Gwen and Duncan to have any chemistry, which ironically makes the conflict weaker, as it further emphasizes the fact that their relationship was nothing but a plot device used for cheap drama. Sure, there's some witty banter here and there, and that scene where Gwen tells Duncan about how they should just take things as they go with no pressure, but that's just about it. It's possible for the two of them to have some decent chemistry if the writers took a different approach when writing their relationship. After all, they did have some good interactions in the past, and even some of the fanon portrayals of the two of them show some potential. But at the end of the day, we're left with a crummy ship. Now, while Gwen and Trent's relationship wasn't the most exciting thing in the world, however, you can tell that they genuinely care for each other. On the flip side, Gwen and Duncan's relationship just feels completely shallow. But wait, things between them are about to get a whole lot more toxic, as we dive into the episode Picnic at Hanging Dock, where Alejandro flirts with Courtney for strategic purposes. And Duncan, who was in on the plan, pretends that he still has feelings for her and acts like a jealous ex in order to push her closer to Alejandro. The problem, however, is that Gwen doesn't know that this is all just an act, and thinks that Duncan still likes Courtney, which contradicts what he told her, making him look like a two-timing jerk in her eyes.
Claimed he wasn't into her anymore. What is his deal? Maybe you were right. Duncan can be a real jerk sometimes.
And to add insult to injury, Gwen is eliminated at the end of this episode, and the relationship between her and Duncan is left on this terrible note. Although, even if Duncan got the chance to explain the situation to her, it was still a dick move on his part. And the final kick is the fact that none of this was even necessary, as Courtney was already falling heads over heels for Alejandro at this point. So, yeah, the implications for Gwen and Duncan's relationship in the future isn't looking too good. And so the storyline continues with Duncan and Courtney having a feud until they're both eliminated. And the show is finally able to put all its focus on Heben and Alejandro, the relationship that was actually interesting. But of course, this storyline will once again rear its ugly head when Duncan, Gwen, and Courtney all return for the show's 5th season, Total Drama All-Stars. We see that Gwen and Duncan are still together and Courtney is still mad at them. It is also established that Gwen wants to make things up with Courtney and be friends with her again. However, she doesn't seem to care about being with Duncan, ignoring him and focusing solely on Courtney. It feels like that something happened between them off screen. I guess we could speculate that this is related to the events of Picnic at Hanging Dock, but a year has already passed since then, and the show remains vague about what's going on between them. Duncan also comes across as very apathetic towards Gwen, caring more about getting Courtney's attention for some reason. It seemed to be implied that he suddenly likes her again, although nothing comes of this, as Courtney ends up hooking up with Scott later in the season, which is by far one of the most bizarre and out of left field canon pairings in the history of this franchise. Anyway, the conflict between Gwen and Duncan continues in the episode Saving Private Reach 4, where Gwen accuses Duncan of not really knowing her after he believes she's been hurting Courtney on purpose. Again, it feels like there are underlying issues that haven't been shown yet. But then, Duncan heroically takes a reach ball for her, which seems to indicate that he still genuinely cares about her, and that the relationship is still salvageable. But that immediately gets ignored, as Duncan continues to obsess over Courtney.
You know, now that you and Courtney are on the same team, what has she said about me?
Are you kidding me?
Which causes Gwen to reach her breaking point, leading to her abruptly dumping him.
I can't do this anymore. It's over. When he kissed me on the plane after the London challenge, I felt fireworks. This time, it was like being kissed by a shoe.
It seems that the writers had realized that Duncan was a mistake and had decided to end their relationship. However, just like with everything else in Total Drama All-Stars, Gwen and Duncan's relationship drama is just confusing and poorly executed. The problem is that the conflicts between Gwen and Duncan during the season feels completely contrived due to how little build-up there was to them. Anyway, the love triangle storyline finally comes to an end, where after a massive confrontation between Gwen and Courtney, Courtney admits that she no longer cares about Duncan, and so the two of them repair their friendship and move on from Duncan. Of course, there's still more story that comes with their relationship later in the season, but that's an entirely different topic. And that was the entire saga of the love triangle between Gwen, Duncan, and Courtney, and it was a disaster from start to finish. It was just there for the sake of generic drama that ended up costing the entertainment of the show and the likability of its characters. But could this plot have been improved in some way? Perhaps so. Remember how it was established in Celebrity Manhunt that Duncan and Courtney had broken up sometime after Total Drama action? Well, how about instead of the two of them getting back together at the end of the Celebrity Manhunt special, have Gwen and Duncan become a couple just as Courtney wants to get back together with him? There would still be conflict, except it wouldn't turn the characters into unlikable pricks. But as it is, this love triangle remains as a massive stain on the Total Drama franchise. And that was my video on the infamous love triangle in Total Drama. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a like and comment. Also, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell for notifications. And if you're interested in supporting this channel, then head over to my Patreon. Well, I got nothing else to say, so see ya.